piss. Keep it simple, stupid.
I promise you, this is not a political podcast.
Jump, from the deep into the pool, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. Paranoid radio, set up the mood. 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 Set up the mood.
Testicles, 1, 2, testicles. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Paranoid Radio Podcast. I am Trebles Garcia, the humble host of this amazing adventure. And I want to thank the Lord for allowing me to be here today. And I want to thank every single one of you for allowing me to enter your space. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I got an amazing panel of people here that were very difficult to get together. But if it wasn't for freaking conspiracy theories, if it wasn't for a beautiful friend of mine that put the whole thing together, I probably wouldn't be here today. Before anything, I want to make sure to remind you guys to check us out at paranoidradio.com. Cough up some of the t-shirts. Check us out at paranoidradio.com. And also, do not forget that the most important thing that you could do for the show today, or for anybody, is word of mouth. Tell the world about the show. Drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and that allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to jump in from the deep end of the pool and set the mood. All right, here we go. Starting off with this amazing adventure called Woman, how to get a panel of all women podcast hosts. Please give a warm welcome to the hostess of the Spiritual Gangsters podcast and also co-host of the Occult Reaches podcast, Theresa. What's up, Theresa? How's it going?
Good. How are you, Trebles? What's up? Yeah.
I'm doing good. Shout outs to NY New York Patriot. Now let's move on to the next. Heidi Love from the Unfiltered podcast. How are you?
Good. I'm happy to be here.
You're doing great things over there. I heard you were smashing it, dude. Kudos to that.
I'm smashing my computer.
Or whoever was in that meeting earlier you were mentioning. Verbally, of course, not physically. Now, yes, please give a warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Ellie. Nice meeting you, Ellie. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
And obviously my pod mom, the one that put this whole thing together. She grew a lot with me in my heart and on the show. Janet from the Deplorable Nation podcast. Welcome.
Hello, and thank you again for having me and for having all of these wonderful, beautiful ladies with us this evening.
Yes. Guys, the reason you guys are here today is because there's something going around the world, specifically in the Western Hemisphere of the planet, where I call it demonic attacks. I call them spiritual attacks. But today I'm not just here as a husband or a man. I'm here also as a son. I recognize that every king, every emperor, even Jesus Christ came out of a womb, out of a woman. And for some odd reason, everything that I look around, I'm talking about music, food, entertainment, movies, everything, even kid movies, bro, cartoons. They're eliminating the word woman from culture. They're trying to eliminate the word woman even from the dictionary. They're trying to replace it with something that's imaginary, a fantasy, and emotions. Rotten emotions, if you ask me. But you guys are here today to tell me what is woman. To remind us all what a real woman is. Talk to me about the pains. Talk to me about the honors. Talk to me about the privileges. Talk to me about empowering women in the real sense of empowering women, not just having a job and having the ability to vote. Deplorable Nation.
For me, I think woman is one of the most special things on the planet because nobody would be here without a woman first and foremost. Women are designed to be nurturers by nature and designed to not only take care of their children, but take care of their husbands and take care of everyone else as well. That is our role. Men have the leadership role. And for men to, well, I wouldn't even say it's men. I would say demonic forces to be able to erase females completely or to merge males with females and blur that line as to now there's no thing as a mother, it's a birthing person.
Oh,
There's no
yeah.
breastfeeding, it's chest feeding. I have a problem with that. I'm one that does not support toxic femininity at all. It's
Damn.
dangerous.
Don't mind
Get
me
in
saying
trouble
this,
for that.
but having I consider my wife a little toxic. I fucking love that. Just a little having a little toxic Latina around
just a
is a
touch of
spicy tamale.
toxic.
Yeah,
Just a
just a
touch
touch
of
of toxic.
Keep
You
it
have to have
interesting.
that. It keeps you in line, right? I would assume for most of us. Yeah, Teresa, any thoughts?
I think there's a big push around the world, obviously, as we're seeing, to pollute the feminine, if that makes sense, to erase the feminine. And I think, like you touched on, both Janet and Trebles, you already touched on it, that there is like a demonic element to that. And I think that's always been from like the beginning of time. Now, coming from like my perspective as a Christian and a Catholic person, I do see that as Satan hates woman, and he always has.
Mhm.
That's why, like, first he tempted Eve, right? He went to her first, not to Adam, because he knew he took advantage of her empathy and like vulnerability, that's why he went to her first. And then he knows that, Mary, the new Eve, has a big role in his demise, being the one who birthed Christ.
Bam.
She's a perfect vessel for
Mhm.
that, and through her humility, that's how we defeat sin and Satan in this world, is through humility and meekness. Actually, it's a lot harder to be that way than to be just, brash and let's all just kill each other. That doesn't solve anything,
Mhm.
like I think it's
Hmm.
Genesis 3:15, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah.
In one of an old translation of the Bible, the Dewey Reams translation, it says that Mary, well, not Mary, but that she will crush the head of Satan. So
Mhm.
I do believe the she is referring to, the feminine, actually.
Very interesting. Huh. I
Mhm.
didn't think about that. Ali, any comments?
I mean, I agree with everything that Janet and Teresa said so far. I think, it's not just the perversion that they're trying to do women, where it's the trans stuff. It's also, it's this androgyny that's happening.
Mhm.
Like, women are looking like men and men are looking like women. And there's times that I've looked at people and I'm like, I literally don't know if you're male or female. And looking at, the clothes that are in stores for women now, they're very boxy, they're very masculine. Women are meant to have hips. Even the jeans now, like you don't show your hips, And I'm not saying you have to wear low cut stuff or tight stuff, but the dress that women wear, or the clothing that women wear, is inherently different than men, or it's supposed to be. But now, I look in stores and it's either crop tops for 5-year-olds or straight baggy pants that you can't tell, what's going on down there.
Well,
And
and let me add to that real quick. I mean, that goes along with Deuteronomy, right? Where a woman should dress like a woman and a man should dress like a man, and you should not, you know, exchange the two by any means, because he made us divine in his creation the way that we are. And so
yeah,
for us to pervert that and play and blur the lines and stuff, it is making it more against God than I think it's ever been in my lifetime, at least.
well, and it's not to
Heidi?
say women can't wear pants. It's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But if you look at the pants that like a lot of the women wear nowadays, it's not, you can't tell their feminine features. Now, I'm also not saying you have to wear skin tight yoga pants that are see through, like
Mm-hmm.
Or the
common
TikTok yoga
sense.
pants.
Yeah, like that's not.
Yeah. No, I think that this is actually going to the Luciferian agenda, the worship of Baphomet, Nephilim, fallen angels. Angels are neither male nor female. They're androgynous. This is a push for that and a recognition, almost an homage, if you will, to that satanic Luciferian worship, whether or not I believe that, I mean, we go back to Taxel with that, and that's a whole big thing. But here's the thing, whether it was made up or it wasn't, whether that was what was pushed or not, it still has references in the Bible saying angels are not male nor female. And I think they edify that and they ran with it, whether or not Satanism was real or not at the beginning. It's here now. So
Mhm.
It's the, if I may add and amplify what you guys said, I wasn't supposed to speak a lot on this conversation because I'm not a woman, and I'm just standing here and I'm speaking as a man because I'm witnessing things that are happening, and I am the father of two young, beautiful girls. They're over sexualizing the girls at an early age,
Mhm.
exposing that to men, exposing
Yeah.
that to boys, and by the time they're old enough, they're also adding a little spice called hormone therapy to get them confused. Having you confused also makes you divided in your own mind. They conquered your brain. They control your spirit, your habits, your way of thinking. And eventually, you don't know what the hell is happening. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what you want in the future. And you end up having sex at a young age. You end up sinning. You end up being more distracted and pulling away more from God, more than you could ever imagine. And I think it's very important. So much so that they're even confusing people and children. And I don't want to bring this up because it's old news, but like for the things that happen in the Olympics and continue happening in the United States of America, I've never seen in my entire life, and I've said this hundreds of times on my show. When I was coming up, if a man ever touched a woman aggressively, and we would go to jail, bro. And now you're getting gold medals.
Mhm.
Okay, you're adding men into women's sports after women fought so hard to have them. You're adding women into men into women's spaces again, only for the transsexual men, because I don't see women going into male bathrooms. At least here in California, in the area where I live in, I don't see that happening. All I see is perverted men pretending to be women going to see little girls or other women, and it's pretty fucked up. Sorry if I curse. I wasn't supposed to curse, but it is what it is.
I
Yeah.
want to say, to your point about the hypersexualization or over sexualization of children, and how every aspect of life markets that to children now with their sexuality and sexual beings and things like that. Because I remember during the scamdemic, Teen Vogue, and their whole entire series about anal sex for children.
Whoa, wait.
Oh, this
what?
was a thing, and it was a feature in their Teen Vogue magazine about anal sex for children. You've got one of the leading fashion magazines, right, that all young girls like aspire to be fashion models or whatever. And so you have that, you have aspects in entertainment industry where the parents are missing, the kids run around all night, the kids can, drink or party or be promiscuous or whatever because there's no parental figures and it's okay. All the TV shows now, even if they're for teens or they're cartoons or whatever, and it's about transsexual, gay, lesbian, alphabet soup agendas in those shows.
But I think
Did you
Or
just
the
give me
books,
the
or
chicken
the
head move?
books in the schools. I did.
Don't
But
start giving me the chicken head move.
do you guys remember the Brooke Shields photo from the 1980s where
Yes.
she was
Playboy?
like, I don't know if it was in Playboy, but she was very young, like
Playboy.
around
She was
12 years old.
10.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she was nude. And there were grown men who maybe realized, maybe didn't realize, I don't know, that she was a child. But it was okay
But
then.
a
And it's
sex
just
symbol.
gotten worse to this point. Right. It's a sex symbol.
Right.
And so now you have girls who haven't even had their first period, who have breasts and are wearing crop tops, and they're almost that perfect androgynous female. And what I mean by that is girls don't quite have the hips yet, but they can have the boobs, and they have all the characteristics that men are attracted to, and they look very cute and pretty. And if it's okay in the 1980s, like this is where we're at now, because, you know, feminism was supposed to be great. Feminism was supposed to empower women, and they took the empowerment of women, because that's supposedly what their platform was, and really got bad in the 1980s. And the empowerment of women is just now, well, we can have little girls dressed like they're whores. And now, and we wonder why girls now want to dress like boys, because we've over sexualized them.
Because they don't want the attention.
They don't want the
Yeah.
attention. So of course they're cutting off their hair, and they don't want boobs, because men, thanks to feminism, because women empowerment, are just men, not all men, but men have treated women like we're just sex symbols.
Mhm.
If I may add, I see two spectrums here, like a division. Like, yeah, the ones that are being changed because they don't want the attention, and then the ones that want the attention too much. Because now you have, I don't know what's her freaking name, to be red, sexy red,
Sexy
rapper.
right?
Now I'm not trying to make her famous. The reason I mention her is because, bro, she pulled out. They're glorifying being a whore. Look, I came up in the 90s, dog. Okay. Sorry if I called you dog. This is, bro, I know what it is to be like, you know, I came from an era where rap music talked about selling drugs and selling whores, not doing drugs and being a whore. It's changed. And then you see it, this chick is selling lip balm with one of them's, and excuse me, guys, I'm gonna get a little vulgar here. One of them's blue balls blue. The other one, I know they're freaking funny and hilarious, but this chick, one of them is, she goes, what's the D word what is it? Discharge. Oh yeah, discharge white. What? Bro, I'm not lying. I'm not
Let
lying.
us
This is
not
gross.
purchase any of those.
That's-
We do not
bro.
condone that on this
No.
show.
No.
No,
You know
we
what?
don't. And I'm not trying to be funny. This is real. Hashtag look it up. And then there's
Hey.
another one. Wait,
Go.
having sex on my period red.
Ew.
This is a real
STDs.
name?
This is real. These are real names of the lip balms, and there's 4 other ones that are freaking gross, bro.
What?
Next level
I-
shit.
What brand is behind
Why?
this?
I
I'm
saw
gonna pull it up.
that. I saw like a reel on Instagram, and I was so grossed out. Just in a few seconds, I was like, "Nope, gotta go past that because I don't want to see that." But don't
And these girls are
forget-
singing those songs.
Wait,
Listening
don't
to this girl
forget,
say that.
Yes, that song with Drake
People-
that she has.
people
What?
like Gwyneth Paltrow who were selling vagina scented candles.
What?
I have smelled enough vagina in my life as a nurse. No, pass.
Same.
Heidi,
Thank
Heidi,
you.
you have to comment something, Heidi.
Same girl, same. I've been a
Heidi's
nurse
getting ready to
25
puke.
years. Oof. No, I did labor and delivery for too long to ever want a vagina candle. Let me
Right.
tell you.
Yes.
As a nurse, yeah, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with having to be up in there if you need to be up in there to do a job. Okay, I'm about the job. I gotcha. But like a candle, really?
So I can
No.
smell it all the
Why
time.
do we need to smell that? Some of the
I
other
think that's
names
for
are
trans
Oh, yeah.
people.
Here-
Trans
oh,
people.
some of the other names are coochie juice and gonorrhea.
Oh
Why?
Lord.
Who
Why?
came up with
Hey,
this should be fired immediately.
Can
Yep.
I borrow?
What is
Can I borrow
this?
your gonorrhea, Teresa? Because
This
I
is
need a touch up.
Oh.
Wait. This
Disclaimer,
is,
I do
this is-
not have any sexually transmitted diseases. Thank you.
No. We're talking about disgusting chapstick.
Right.
Yes,
disgusting. I'm
exactly.
just saying, guys. The message. I don't want you guys. Okay, we get
No,
this
no,
really
okay,
back.
wait.
This really back.
Whoa,
Yo.
whoa, whoa. Yeah.
Look. Okay. Look, guys. Yes, they're disgusting. One of them was called booty hole brown. I just wanted to say.
Oh.
No, look, guys. What's happening is they're normalized.
Right.
It's funny for us. It's funny for us because we will never use it. But we got
Right.
kids, and our kids don't think it's funny. Our kids think it's freaking cool. It's rad. It's awesome. It's like when
Right.
I used to fucking be a kid rolling up a spliff, right? Oh yeah, it scored. No, you see the difference,
Yeah.
and that's dangerous. As a father of a girl that's 14 years old, she's asking for CoverGirl already. She's already asking for all these things. And I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Don't buy her any of those products.
Don't buy
please.
that.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
You know what the thing is, I think in general, and it's like, it's not even about, I think, the whole trans thing, although the trans movement is maybe like feminism gone awry
Off the
to the
rails.
extreme, off
It's
the rails.
men tend to take it over again.
I think the problem is, in general, the preoccupation with sexuality.
Mhm,
Just this
agreed.
general like sexualizing of kids, talking like even all the alphabet soup agenda, as Janet put it, the rainbows everywhere. Like my kids, we talk about this stuff pretty openly. They're only 12 and 9. But then it forces me to have a conversation with them that like maybe I wouldn't have had this conversation for another few years. But then we have to open up this can of worms about like, what is gay? What is a lesbian? What is this? Why are you seeing these rainbows everywhere? Maybe not every parent is going to have that conversation with their kids, but it then gets kids thinking in a sexual manner, you know, and then they're watching these YouTube shorts that of like, you can't control what comes up like on their YouTube. You either have to take it away completely. Like they could be watching an innocent video. My kids are very into sports. They're watching how to swing your baseball bat tips and how to improve your game. And then an ad pops up with a naked girl or a chat bot who's like scantily dressed. Like I can't control all these things. It's like this hypersexualization of children in general, and I think that's very unhealthy. And then giving kids devices because some parents think it's good to expose their kids to technology. It's exposing. I see it in young boys. I have 2 sons, so I'm on the opposite of you, Trebles. But it's like I can tell most of these young boys, 12 and under, have probably watched porn or pornographic
That
type
was the next point.
images.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
it's just, I think I'm really worried for this next generation. Like we had it bad enough with like
Well,
being sexualized from young. It's gonna ruin their relationships already.
Not
Like
just boys that are watching
it's not
it.
real.
no, it's
Yeah,
not
girls.
exactly. It's not
Yeah.
real. It's I see that it's making kids like depressed.
Right.
Like there's a dopamine depletion,
Yeah,
not
from
just
the young, from a young.
yeah,
Mhm.
from young. And then I know of like some of my friends' daughters who from like grade 7, grade 8 already think that to get a boy to like them, they have to send like nude pictures.
Nudes. Yep.
And there's
Sexy.
no
Well,
more. There's no more
At 13,
Riz anymore.
14
Yeah,
years old.
yeah.
Right.
There's well, and we even if you hide it from them, even if you don't give them a phone, I'm sorry, their friends have phones. They're
Yeah.
gonna see it. You gotta have this talk.
Oh yeah, they're
because
gonna see stuff
it's
regardless.
crazy. Yeah, and
Mhm.
I've had to tell my son, even more so than my daughter. I have 6 kids, but my older girls, I mean, half my kids are raised and half of them are not. And I've had to sit him down and say, you do know nipples are not bright pink, right? Like lipstick pink. They're not. And neither is down below. And everything isn't like, I don't want this to ruin your life because they bleach things, they dye things, they add color, they do this, they do that. And I don't want you to think that's like real life and be disappointed because you've seen this or watched it or whatever, like because it makes girls feel some kind of way, you know? And
Well,
and
you
then they're
know,
altering.
you know, too, with the devices is that a lot of school systems, especially around here, give devices to children for their homework and all their schoolwork is on the computer or an iPad or whatever.
It has to be.
And
Yep.
the school actually provides those now. So even if you don't give them access, they have that access on those school given devices.
Yep, my son
Yeah,
has
and
to have it. Mm-hmm.
when
Ellie?
the controls, I guess, that some of the schools put on, most of the time, in my opinion, they're severely lacking. And like kids know how to get around things. And
Right.
so the IT people are like, oh, the kids won't figure it out. And no, they do.
They do.
The kids
they
are
do.
smarter than adults these days when it comes to tech stuff.
Yeah.
I want
Guys.
to add one thing real quick. When we were talking about you know, like bodily autonomy and things like that, and that's the big push, right? And my body, my choice. However, you cannot have your cake and eat it too, because you cannot be all for your bodily autonomy and what you do with your body is your choice. And then on the other hand, be against the gender neutral bathrooms. That is not bodily autonomy when men are forcing themselves into your private space.
Yeah.
Boom.
That is not, those two things don't go together.
I don't
And so
think
people that are
sorry.
on the same side of, bodily autonomy and wanting everyone to share bathrooms and stuff, those two things don't go together at
I
all.
think what you're reminding me of, Janet, too, is like I don't think men necessarily understand how much time and energy women spend in trying to feel safe.
Right.
Like a lot of the time in public, like we don't feel 100% safe probably most of the time. I'm like,
Mhm.
and not in like a like, oh my God, I'm gonna get attacked like constantly, Wayne. I'm not saying that because I think I'm like all that or something. It's just like a general awareness that I think females have to have as a
Mhm.
survival mechanism. And then when you have, okay, we've like fought to have our, have ourselves in spaces, have ourselves in public discourse with voting. That's not even that long ago that we got
Right.
like a right to vote, which doesn't even matter anyway. So whatever. But
This is not a
but like
political podcast.
but then seeing men encroach on those spaces, like pretending to be a female. What? Because actually I was at a nightclub last summer and I remember there was a guy there dressed in like a mermaid skirt and like a bikini top.
Mhm.
And I was like, that's not even appropriate clothes for anyone. But
Mhm.
because he's like, looks trans.
You mean you have
We're
never
gonna
gone out dressed as a mermaid before?
No,
I mean,
sorry.
come on.
Like if I
What
showed up
in-
to a nightclub in Toronto downtown in a bathing suit top, not at a pool club, like at an
Mhm.
evening one with a dance
You
floor.
gotta shave your head. You gotta be a little bit more masculine and then wear the mermaid suit.
And then he's like coming in the bathroom and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know, man.
Oh.
Like I want to be accepting, but at the same time, I'm like, I just feel uncomfortable.
I'm not. I
like,
will
no.
not. Yeah, I will
Ladies.
not. If I am somewhere and I see a man come into a women's restroom, especially if there are other ladies in the restroom or children in the restroom, he will probably not want to have a conversation with me. Mm-hmm.
And the worst thing is that they're aggressive. I didn't want to interrupt, guys, but it is the middle part of the show. And in the beginning, I didn't allow you guys to make your plugs. So put your plugs in now. Heidi from Unfiltered Rice. Let them know where they can find you.
I'm Heidi Love at the Unfiltered Rise podcast. I'm everywhere podcaster serves. We are at our own website now, unfilteredrisepodcast.com. And you can get all that stuff there and find me on the socials, same handle. Thank you.
She did Mormon 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then she did the first portion of her life with us too. She gave me an amazing series of episodes. Make sure you check her out, ladies and gentlemen. Heidi Love from the Unfiltered Rise podcast. Theresa, let them know where they can find you.
Yes. So Theresa from the Spiritual Gangsters podcast and also co-host on the Occult Rejects. You can find me on X and Instagram at TS Gangsters Pod, and all my links are there. YouTube, of course, and all that good stuff.
The shows, the guests are amazing. She's on Twitter the most, guys. So if you guys are on any other platform, make sure you check her out on Twitter. Twitter is king. So make sure you check her out, guys. Ellie, please let her know where you hail from and what you got.
I don't have a podcast or anything anymore. I just am a regular average person. But if you want to find me on Instagram, I am ONE thumb EL, one thumb L.
Yes, find her on Instagram, ladies and gentlemen. She's also going to be featured on the drop-down menu of our website. And Deplorable Janet, let her know.
And I'm just going to say, Ellie used to have Speed Bumps podcast that was very, very good. And I'm sure the episodes are still available. So make sure you listen to those. As well as the episodes of all of the beautiful ladies here and gentlemen. You're beautiful too. You can find Deplorable Nation podcast on every podcast platform, plus on Rumble. You can hit me up on Instagram at Deplorable Janet, and Twitter is No Janet, KNOW.
That's right. All right. Jumping back into the conversation, ladies and gentlemen. Now, going back to the stuff, and this question is going to be direct. I'm throwing you a curveball here, Heidi. You have you seen an increase of underage preteens? No, preteens, if that's even a word, being having their period sooner.
Yeah. So precocious puberty is a real thing lately. And I can tell you in my own neighborhood, this is such a situation that even moms that don't do big pharma, like she doesn't even shave, their kids don't go to regular school, like they're really, really almost off the grid type people not off the grid. Their kids all are hitting it at like 10 and 9 and 10. And so it is really concerning. And I know they don't drink the tap water. She knows all the things. So I don't know what's going on. Yeah. I've seen it a lot.
Again, speeding up the process, controlling the timelines, controlling your habits, controlling your body, and making sure that you are a patient before you even hit 15, 16 years old. Because the earlier you get into it, the faster you know what those pains and agonies are. Not that I know of what they are, but after I've seen my daughters and my daughter and my wife, I can only assume that it's horrible, right? The pain of having your period. And, oh, I don't want to have my period anymore. Even more of a reason why to go on hormone therapy, hormone blockers, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, I'm a conspiracy theorist here. I might be reaching, but there's a mission. There's a reason why these young girls are having it at a very young age. Ali, do you have any comments on that?
I mean, I think there's a variety of reasons girls are having it at young ages, but even boys are going through puberty younger too. And then so you're having preteens who have gone through puberty or are going through puberty. And then to the point of sexualization, now you have 11, 12-year-olds who have hormones of, what used to be 16, 17-year-olds. And we're wondering why sixth graders are getting pregnant. Like, I don't think there's one definitive thing that we can point to and say, oh, this is the reason why, puberty is starting early. But it's not just in girls, it's in boys too.
Wow. When I was younger, when I was in middle school, we're talking about 2003. I came from a city called South Almonte in California, small little city. And the entire city was ranked number 1 for underage pregnancies and underage STDs.
Oh,
not that I had any STDs. I'm just saying.
Memphis now has the record for the most STD cases in children up to 18 years old.
See, but my question regarding that, like, it used to be my understanding, if a kid came in with an STD, it wasn't just an automatic, like, oh, they're just having relations with kids their own age. It was, oh, they're probably being abused.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
So how many kids now are being abused and have an STD, but because we've sexualized children, we just assume they get it from a peer and ignore the abuse?
100%. That goes on so much, I would assume. And I will say that one of the causal factors, which is not all of them, but one of the causal factors for early puberty in boys and girls is because the amount of hormones that are put in our food, our livestock, our soy products, cosmetics, literally lotion, shampoo, soaps, whatever. There's all kinds of hormonal things or additives that actually act on your endocrine system, coupled with the hypersexualization through programs at school and reading materials at school and everything on TV, which is meant to cause and stimulate hormone production at an early age. So,
bam. Guys, let's get the ball rolling again. Because I know Theresa's got to leave in a bit.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm gonna make me cry. I've seen I know Ali and Ali, obviously I know you're not a mom yet, but hopefully one day soon. And I'm not a mom either, so there's two of us here that are not mothers.
Nice.
Guys, but what is motherhood? Because I want we started off with that and we kind of segued on the other stuff and culture and lip balm and stuff, but it's very important we do not allow this spiritual war, information war going around to pull us away and desensitize us to what our mothers are. I had a rough childhood, and for a long time, what came out of my mouth for my mom was hatred. Deplorable Janet had me on her show, and where I came in, I told her like I hated my mom, and I think I said it still as a present tense. I told her, I said, yeah, I still hate that woman, and I just recently find out that no, I need closure with that woman. I forgot that I came out of that woman. The reason I'm here right now, speaking with you guys, having the privilege of the world to being surrounded by beautiful souls all the time, and having my beautiful daughters with me, alive right now, healthy, it's because I came out of that woman, regardless of what her character was, regardless of what she did. I forgave her, and now I'm looking for having closure with her and ask her to forgive me too, because I was a bad child. In many ways, I am finding out that I am more attached to my mom than I can actually ever think or imagine. I'm getting a little vulnerable here, guys. But for Theresa, started off motherhood. What does it mean to you?
Ooh, I don't know if you want to start with me. I'm not.
Bam! Do it. Get it.
Motherhood is hard, man. Really hard. I don't know if I'm like the most typical mom. Heidi might be better to talk to about this than me.
She has
To be
six.
honest, she has 6. So I have 2 boys, like I said, and honestly, I have struggled with it from day one. Struggled because motherhood is a complete laying down of yourself every day, 24/7. Everyone's needs come before yours. Like there's a long period of grief for the person that you were prior. And I don't know if you ever get that back. It's really tough. I think
That
some
was
women are much better at retaining their self prior to when they had children. I was never good at it. I maybe just like coming up for air now that they're like 12 and 9. Maybe, but it's been a long haul, and I stayed at home with them this whole time. I just got a full-time job this year. Like, so it's been 12 years where I was, doing the stay-at-home mom grind, and I'm gonna tell you that shit is not for
It's
the
emotionally
faint, not for the
taxing.
faint of heart. Very taxing. Yes, and I could say that that women really need good men. Because you need someone to fill you so that you can fill your children. And if you don't have that, it makes it infinitely more difficult. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yep,
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm definitely not the example. I mean, I've been a mom since I was a kid because my mom couldn't, so I was, and I was to my brother, and then I ended up married at 17. So I raised his child within a year, and being a mom to kids that are not your blood is still being a mom, and it is really hard work. And being a mom, some of my kids think I'm the best thing ever. One of my kids won't talk to me at all. So, I mean, and it's been 5 years. It's not a phase. It's not going away. And it is the best and worst thing you'll ever have happen to you. It is your biggest triumphs and your worst guilt, honestly. For the one that doesn't speak to me, I sit and ruminate on that every single day. So to Trebles, I would say you're doing a wonderful thing and God will bless you, because one thing in the Bible that it says is you do not forsake your parents. So I'm not saying go get beaten by them every day. I'm just saying make it right. I'm just saying, have some peace with it, make that situation a bridge, and remember all the talks you've had with me and the tears that I've shed. We all have regret. I've not had the ability to always stay home. I've usually worked full time until I really got hurt. And then there's that guilt, right? Like she said, you need a good man, you need a partner. There's a reason why that's a partnership, because when you are lacking that severely and then your daughter takes off and hooks back up with the guy that took off at 4, yeah, that pisses me off, things like that. You're just like, yeah, I couldn't do the best for you because I was alone doing it. Like, what did you want from me? I'm working all the time so you could have a nanny, but all these things that I see, and now I'm opposite. Now I'm home. I'm totally different with my last view than my first view, and somewhere in between. But it is a wild ride, and you have to learn to forgive yourself. And I think Janet has helped me understand that. You have to learn. We can't be perfect. We didn't get the handbook. I was doing it for my brother. Nobody taught me. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's hard. It's hard as hell. And if you want to point your finger and judge another mother, you should have your ass checked. That's my opinion. That's what I have to say on that.
Yeah,
Ellie,
motherhood is very complicated. It's extremely rewarding, and as a mother, we are kind of like these omnicompetent beings where you can wear many hats and juggle many things at once, and you're always there to forgive and to nurture and to take care, and you're not just your children but your husband and your family circle and literally everything. So you're doing all these things at the same time. But we do, like Theresa said, a lot of times we forget about ourselves, and how important it is for us to take care of ourselves to be able to take care of our children or to take care of our families. And we have to, as mothers, usually almost 100% of the time, be the ones to instill the values, the morals, the discipline. I was a single parent for a long time, so I had the discipline and the nurturer role at the same time, which is also very difficult because then your children get confused as to why 1 minute you're spanking their butt and scolding them, and the next minute you're their best friend. And so motherhood is definitely a circus act, and it's a juggler.
Can I ask a question, Trebles?
Yeah.
Okay, so for Janet, Heidi, and Theresa, all of you have spoken about how hard it's been, either because you're a single parent or like needing a man to fill you up. Do you think, so it's my understanding is, probably even 100 years ago, most of the women stayed home and the men went to work. So women were able to better support each other and be there for each other as moms and like raise their kids together. Do you think if you had that, it would have made raising your kids easier?
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
Well, I was going to say,
I think it's the guidance.
100,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called a village.
Yeah,
It's called a
we
tribe.
we lack the village in modern society big time. And I think for like someone in like my situation where like I stayed at home, but it was by choice, but not really by choice, because it was like either work to pay for daycare / nanny or do it
Right.
yourself. Like there was
Right.
no profiting in that situation. Like it was just
Right.
barely making enough to would have been able to maybe afford daycare or whatever. So I was like, all right, I'll just do it myself, I guess. But yeah, there's a case to be made for sure for like the lack of the village. Absolutely. I think
Mhm.
I always think of like a 1950s mom, from like Mad Men, like Don
Right.
Draper's wife, January Jones character, and she's like making herself like a cocktail at like 3 p.m. The kids
She
are
has value.
the kids
Yeah.
are just somewhere in the neighborhood. Nobody knows where the fuck their kids are. And I'm like, that's the best kind of mothering. Like she's doing laundry. Nobody's bothering her for a snack because they're all gone. They're just out. I'm like this summer was the first summer that I was with my kids and the few parents from the neighborhood. We made it clear to each other that we're cool for your kids to knock on my door.
Mhm.
Like, come knock, just come play. Just ask
Mhm.
if my kids are free and we'll do the same. And
Right.
Damn.
we're starting to try to get that, like, go play outside, go walk to the park, go
They
to
don't
the
do that
plaza,
anymore.
go
Yeah.
buy a Gatorade at the dollar store, like, go do stupid shit together.
Don't
don't-
commit
they don't.
crimes, but
Don't
They don't.
call me.
You have to.
Like,
You have to have a play date. You have to have an appointment for the appointment to
Yeah.
freaking have your kid go play now. And it
Right?
shocks me as a person. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Do you know how many parents stayed at my kid's birthday last time? I'm like, what is, if you don't trust me that much, keep them. We don't need the gift.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
so weird. Honestly, parenting, mothering in general, it's so different than it
Well,
was.
and I think a lot of that too has to do with like how much our society has changed and how toxic things have become
Mhm.
in every aspect. Because, you know, when I was growing up, when you got up in the morning, you ate breakfast and then you were gone all day outside. You
Toodles.
came home at
Mhm.
night when the
Yep.
street light came
Nighttime.
on. You,
Mhm.
if you were thirsty, you drank out of the garden hose. You
yeah,
know,
baby.
you did those kind of things, but because there's such an increase in hypersexualization, which led to, you know, child abduction, child molestation, all of those kind of things that are going on these days. People don't trust their kids to be outside, and kids are so addicted to devices that they literally do not know what it's like to be out in nature.
Well, and
And to get
if you're the safe haven house, because that's what I was,
That's
like
what I was
Teresa
too.
explained. But guess what happened though? Because of this new world, the crazy parents got in a fight and had a divorce, and then CPS shows up at my door and says somebody raped these kids, and I'm like, well, it wasn't us. And I'm like, excuse me? And they're like, well, we know, not you guys, but like you have a teenage son. And I mean, we had to go through hell all because I gave these kids popsicles and let them swim in my pool
Oh,
outside.
man.
And
Wow.
so
whoa.
I won't do it again. I won't do it again. They can go
Right.
play outside.
And on the last few minutes, on the last 10 minutes, we're gonna get really controversial now because I've been holding this bomb for a while. Ellie, you started this conversation when I was sending you the freaking DMs. And now when I wanted to go about and talk about women empowerment, I'm not talking about women empowerment and being awesome at the women NBA or fucking playing golf, no, or having an OnlyFans, which is also not women empowerment. But
I was going to say breakdancing at the Olympics.
don't
Right.
you dare talk about her because that was a conspiracy theory. That was a conspiracy theory, Janet. Okay, anyway, check this out. Depopulation. How do you feel about women now wanting to have kids because they're so fucking independent?
I mean, if you go back to as girls, we're hypersexualized. And so then to your point, we're either told that we don't want it, so we push it away because ultra feminism. But then kids are seen as a burden. Kids are seen as an inconvenience. Kids are seen as something that you don't want. And if you have, I follow people on Instagram who are like, yeah, I have like 2 kids and people think it's weird. I'm sure people look at Heidi and are like, oh my gosh, you have 6 kids, and like they just fall over and like cannot. But even like you have 2 and people are like, oh my goodness. You see families that have 4 or more and you're like, you start getting the jokes of like, oh, you know where they came from? It's like, well, maybe the parents actually just love each other and want kids. But I do have to say, Christians, because they procreate, will eventually take over the world because the transgenders and the other ones don't want kids, so they can't pass their bad morals along. So I say we'll win in the
damn.
like we'll win in the end.
They're still making them babies.
You beat
Applaud that.
persecution.
Amen.
They still
Applaud
are.
that.
They still are, but Christians will have more kids than the crazies. So we'll win in the end. It's okay.
Heidi, example A.
Hey, them lesbians put out some kids. Let's be real. They do.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
They don't hold back. Yeah, they don't.
I
hold
think
back.
it's also the over glorification of money, over glorification of consumption,
broke.
Material things.
material
6 kids,
things.
You're broke. Yeah.
Yeah. You say, oh, I don't want to have kids because I want to be independent. I want to pay my own rent. I don't want to find the right man. And then you end up, and this is, I'm not being misogynistic. I don't even know what the fuck that word means. I'm just saying, you end up with cats at 40. Who's going to come to your funeral, bro? Not your kids or your grandkids, I'll tell you that much. You know, like, you're not going to go through the beautiful parts of life. And as a son, just going back to the point with Janet, what Jenna said, drinking out of the hose, that was the best fluoride in the freaking planet, bro. I'm sorry to tell you. I'm alive.
Maybe it prevented early puberty, guys.
Right?
Whoa.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
and my question is
ate
this.
things directly out of the garden and didn't wash them off either. So, you know.
Conspiracy
Well,
theories, right? If you can get you could get vitamin D from the sunlight. Can you get hormone therapy through blue light from your phones?
You can get,
Yes.
but you can get more. Hormone is a fat soluble, like any of the sex hormones are fat soluble. So the heavier people are, the earlier they're going to hit puberty, because the
Bam.
more fat content you have, which they said it rose to high levels on precocious puberty in 2019 and through the pandemic. Why? Because nobody was active.
And
Right. And
blue light
because
exposure. Sorry,
I was
Janet,
going to
go ahead.
say, and because of all of our, you know, McDonald's, Wendy's, the crap that they feed them in the cafeteria at school and stuff, lends itself to excess body weight or excess body fat. And so, of course, you're going to have your puberty faster.
I'm so happy you didn't say Oreos. I could still eat my Oreos, Dr. Janet.
I
Those are
thought about
satanic
it. I was
cookies.
like, or what
Satanic.
was the cheese?
I know, I heard Mexican satanic stuff. I know, I heard a lot of crazy stuff through all the symbolism. The symbolism is everywhere, and that's also too, that really plays a role in your subconscious, and it's historical. This is why the ancients were in love with all these symbols. You know, at one time, going back to the money thing, at one time the cross was the all-known symbol around the world, and now it's the dollar sign. It is what it is. On the closing statements of this, Deplorable Janet, let them know your final thoughts and where they can find you.
I'm going to say women are a beautiful part of our society. They're necessary and they should not ever be erased from society, because without women, men would be very lost. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful manner, but in my household especially. If I'm not here, things don't run properly. And so women have made so many beautiful contributions to the world as far as emotional and leveling things out and spreading love and spreading kindness to other people. So without women, we are a society that is doomed to fail.
Yes. Ellie, final thoughts? Oh yeah, Janet, where can I find you?
Deplorable Nation on every podcast platform, plus on Rumble. You can find Deplorable Janet on Instagram or No Janet, KNOW, on Twitter.
Bam. Ellie.
So I know God created men and women differently to be companions to each other, to complement each other, and trying to erase those differences is only trying to cheapen what God made. And I think we need to embrace our differences. Doesn't mean that we're any less valuable than men. Doesn't mean we're more valuable than men. We are both equally valuable, men and women. Embrace our differences. And I don't know. I still think Christians will win in the end because we have more babies.
That's God's plan. Christians have to win.
I love it.
Teresa, let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, so like I said before, the Spiritual Gangsters podcast, and check out the Occult Rejects. Oh, I also sometimes co-host on Midnight Mysteries Radio. We don't get to
Bam.
do it too much, but it's a lot of fun. But yeah, final thoughts. I mean, like touching on what Janet and what Ellie just said, men and women equally important. Man is the provider, woman is the magnifier, the multiplier. Whether you choose to have children or not, it doesn't make you less of a female. You know, actually, in my experience, motherhood is really like looked down upon, which is really sad. I think
Yeah.
like when I've told people, say at like a children's birthday party, oh, I stay home. They'll be like, oh, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And I'm like, oh, I stay home with my kids. It's like this shame. Shame. Like, oh, I never like accomplished anything, or, I don't have. Anyways, that's a whole societal comment in itself. But for women to embrace their role as like multiplier of whatever it is you choose, multiplier of kindness, compassion, empathy, like these are the positive female traits that the world needs a lot more of, and not to pervert that with the evil parts of feminism, because then there is a place for female empowerment to a degree. There's a reason why women feel that way. Sorry to say that they feel they need to like prove themselves, but to then not pervert it, and just for men and women to honor each other in that way,
Bam. Heidi love.
Can I break the rule and respond to something Theresa said?
Yeah.
So Theresa, know how you were like, oh, I feel shame, like when people are like, oh, I'm just a stay-at-home mom. I heard a pastor's wife say, in response to that, when people are like, oh, you're just a stay-at-home mom. And she was like, yeah, I have a college degree, and I use my college degree to then raise my children, to raise kids for the glory of God. And I think that is the most important thing in the world. What do you do? So never be ashamed of what you do. Sorry,
like
that's
it.
all.
Mic drop, dude. Freaking Ellie, dude. Where'd you come from, bro?
She's the best, man.
Good stuff. Heidi, hit it again. One more time.
All right.
Where can they find you? Final thoughts.
I am Heidi Love at the Unfiltered Rise. I'm everywhere podcasts are served, like I said. And I do have a Patreon. I drop twice a week on Spotify, once a week on YouTube, because YouTube is crazy. But motherhood and being a woman, I will never be manly. I love to be a woman. I like to be a missus. I like to be a wife, not a partner. I like to dress like a girl and act like a girl and be that girl. But I also lay tile and can rip up a bathroom quicker than my husband's head can spin. So I'm saying this, you can still be that bad bitch, and you can still be that stay-at-home mom. And yes, I do have 2 college degrees, but you know what? You never know what that woman has or has done, or what their worth is, whether they went to school or not. Some of the best people I've ever looked up to that made it through like completely insane conditions didn't have a college degree, and they were just a mom. And you know what? I wouldn't be here without them. So shout out to those moms out there.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Woman. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I want to give special thanks to Deplorable Janet, because she put this whole group together. I wouldn't have done it without you. Thank you so much, Janet. Heidi, how can I forget you? You're doing amazing things. I am so happy I had you on your show early on. In the early stages, and I am ecstatic to see you grow. And I'm gonna see you at the freaking top, and we're gonna share a few episodes and another series of you again on the show. Hopefully you agree, and hopefully you open up your amazing schedule. I know your schedule's hectic right now. You're dropping bombs left and right, killing it. Theresa, you are the gangster misses of them all, of more of all. You know what I mean? You're more gangster than all of them. You're G as fuck, dude. You're G as fuck. Thank you so much for being on the show and spreading your time here, sharing your moments and the platform and your knowledge and everything that you are. Ellie, you're amazing. It was an amazing pleasure to share this moment with you. Thank you for honoring me with your presence and your voice and your knowledge and all the bombs you brought at the end. That was the perfect timing. The timing is perfect. Again, ladies and gentlemen, you can find us all on the drop-down menu of ParanormalRadio.com. Make sure you check them out on Instagram. And do not forget to drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. It allows other people to enjoy the show as much as I enjoy making it. Peace out. Ooh, I did it exactly 6 p.m. All right. I didn't want to recently leave.
Paranoid Radio.